This is KTVO's Good Morning Heartland.
Welcome back. With the new school year now in session, a number of Heartland school districts are ready with all their kids, and local law enforcement agencies want to remind people to be extra cautious when it comes to school zones and when encountering a school bus. And to learn more about school safety tips to keep in mind, we have Kirksville Police Chief Jim Hughes and School Resource Officer Rich Harden. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So technically this week is the first week of school for many Heartland schools. Yesterday Kirksville started. Today a lot of other Heartland area school districts are starting. So first off, let's go ahead and talk about what we need to keep in mind when it comes to school zones and pretty much going out on the streets and dropping our kids off.
You know, the first thing I'll start off with is kids are kids. It's incumbent upon all drivers, whether they're 16 to 106, especially this time of the year when everybody's excited to go back to school. Maybe they're seeing people they haven't seen all summer, and they're just really excited, and they forget, and they do things that they might not otherwise do, like dart out in front of cars. So it's just incumbent upon everybody just to drive extra careful this time of the year. I mean, certainly careful during the school zones all the time, but this time of the year there's a lot of new children going to different schools, going to school for the first time. So just think about that and how excited they might be, and how things could really turn out really bad if you're running late for work and you're just not paying attention.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot more traffic out this morning right now.
Absolutely.
With more people going to school and parents dropping kids off and all. Let's go ahead and talk about school buses, because I feel like no matter how many years go by, I feel every time when there is a school bus in around us, we get confused of when we should stop, when we should go, who has the right of way. So let's go ahead and talk about that and refresh everybody's mind.
Pretty much when the buses have their stop arms out, their stop signs out, and their lights are flashing, we have to stop. There's not really any exceptions, but maybe one, and that would be if you're on a divided highway. If you're on a divided highway like Highway 63, you don't have to stop on the oncoming lane. All right. Everywhere else, you have to stop.
Yeah, and you actually could get a ticket for it as well.
It's
so
a very healthy ticket. Yes, it is.
Which I feel like those people that do not stop deserve a ticket, because obviously you're putting everybody in harm. Let's talk about school zones. What's the speed limit? I know some people are in a rush to drop off their kids to get to work on time, but there's actually a posted speed limit around the schools.
In the R3 school area, it's 20 miles an hour.
Okay.
And that pretty much goes the entire way around the campus.
And I might mention, it is confusing. Sometimes people wonder why we keep it at 20 and we don't increase the speed during the summertime. Well, one, we want to keep it simple. So everybody knows this is a school area. School zone is 20. Besides which, in the summertime, a lot of kids will go to the school grounds and play on the fields or on the equipment and those kinds of things. And so it's 20 all the time. Doesn't matter whether it's a holiday. Doesn't matter whether it's July. It's 20 miles an hour all the time.
All right. Now let's talk about your job duties as a school resource officer. You're on school campus Monday through Friday during school hours, correct?
Right. And a lot of the events after school, I'll come into those.
And we also have a program in place that a lot of schools are adopting across the nation, and it's called the ALICE program. So kind of explain to our viewers what that's all about. What does ALICE stand for?
ALICE stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate.
Okay.
It's a program that was designed shortly after Columbine, shortly after 1999. A individual by the name of Greg Crane and his wife Lisa come up with it. Greg was a 25-year veteran of the Fort Worth Dallas Police Department, and his wife was I think it was an elementary school principal. They were visiting, and he asked what they do in a situation such as Columbine was to ever happen. She informed him that they just, lock the doors and hide. She felt that really wasn't enough, and that's where it come from. It's a program that can be implemented into just about any kind of business or any kind of organization. It's not just designed for schools. Schools is what it started out for, but since then they've seen that it just fits a lot of different organizations.
Right.
I guess.
And you went through a specific training and actually got certified to do this. So in the event of a disaster, which we hope never happens,
absolutely,
you are prepared, and so is the school.
Well, I don't know that we're ever prepared, but we are constantly training and trying to instruct as best we can.
Now, if anybody's interested in learning more about the ALICE program, do you guys do any sort of presentation or anything like that to get the community involved?
I would be glad to go anywhere.
Okay.
Churches, hospitals, businesses, of course, any of the local schools, definitely.
Perfect.
It's a neat program. I'm really on board with it. I think Chief Hughes is too. It's just a tool that we can put in our bag. Hopefully we'll never have to use it, but we need the information.
What the data clearly shows is if you've at least thought about it, been through a little bit of training, you're more likely to respond well or better in these kinds of crises. If you haven't thought about it or you haven't been to any training, that's where it gets really bad, the situation. You don't have any tools in your toolbox that you can use in place in those kinds of events. So this is just really great to get that information out there and provide people some ways that they might be able to respond in a variety of different circumstances.
Interesting. And it's nice that you're willing to provide that information to other businesses around the Heartland.
We're more than willing.
So,
ALICE is just about choices and options. It's just giving you a chance to survive.
all right. So what we'll do is we'll post everything on our website at heartlandconnection.com, and we'll also link up your information as well if there is somebody out there that is interested in learning more about the program and hopefully implementing that program at their business or hospital or church or whatever it may be. Thank you again, gentlemen, for coming on.
Thank you.
And of course, be extra careful when heading outdoors today because school is in full swing, and we'll be right back.